Intimacy in space could have detrimental impact on babies, space tourism hopefuls warn about. Experts have found that there are unanswered biological and legal questions over intimacy in space, with it being possible that babies conceived could be at risk of course, health implications. Sci-fi films and television shows have given the impression that intimacy in space is just the same as here on Earth. In fact, in the 2014 TV series Extant, Halle Berry plays an astronaut who returns home pregnant after a mission in outer space. Now, however, research carried out by a British university has raised safety concerns over sex and pregnancy in space, particularly as space tourism is expected to increase in the next 10 years, and the fact that humans plan to live on multiple planets in the future. Now, I wonder if that has anything to do with the space balloon restaurant, the 6-hour trip that one entrepreneur is claiming to set up. Now, a new report carried out by the Cranfield University, Bedford, has questioned whether intimacy in space is being taken seriously by space tourism sector led by the likes of Elon Musk, SpaceX, and Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin. While some may chuckle at the suggestion, the new report published on April 24th explains that intercourse outside the ozone layer is a critical question as space tourism is expected to boom over the next decade, and a group of scientists and clinicians led by Professor of Astrobiology and Space Biotechnology at the university, David Cullen, have examined what would happen if a pregnancy were to occur in space, as it is unrealistic to assume all future space tourists will not give in to human nature. Of course they'll give in. Now, the paper added, this raises the possibility of uncontrolled human conception in space, which poses a significant risk to the emerging space tourism sector. And although astronauts are trained to resist those urges, I'd like to know how they're going to do that. The same might not be the case for space tourists. Well, some of them maybe even want to get married up there, you can imagine, as they do on the beach or whatever. Now, as of March this year, almost 270 individuals from 20 countries have visited the International Space Station. 270. According to NASA, with 3 businessmen each paying more than £40 million for a rocket ride and accommodation last year. Professor Cullen and his colleagues embarked on the research after finding that the sector had not considered the risk posed by sex in space, particularly as pregnancy in space is vital if we are to become a multiplanetary species. They pointed out that the long-term consequences on babies conceived in space were not known, which would have detrimental outcomes, such as the development of abnormalities as well as societal and commercial issues like litigation, reputational damage, and financial loss to the companies offering trips to space. Falling pregnant in space could see the embryo harmed by radiation, which could then lead to litigation being launched against the space organization, the experts warned. And therefore, it's been suggested that space tourists may have to sign legal documents agreeing to abstain from fornication during their flight in case they fall pregnant. Oh my goodness. They concluded that the lack of research into humans having intercourse and procreating in space has created an inappropriate situation that needs to be urgently addressed. In the future, I'm laughing, but it's not a funny thing. You know, it's very serious. The well-being of the new person being born. Now, in the future, the expert said the motivations behind sexual activity during spaceflight should be considered, as well as further examination of contraception. Over the years, NASA and the Russian Space Agency have insisted that no humans have ever had intimacy in space. How would they know? But anyway, however, I'm sorry. It's a serious thing. I shouldn't be laughing. However, a similar case to Professor Cullen's work was made by Canadian academics in 2021, which argued that space organizations should look into space sexology. They even have a title for it. Space sexology, if humans are to build civilizations in space. They wrote, love and sex are central to human life. Despite this, national and private space organizations are moving forward with long-term missions to the International Space Station, the Moon, and Mars without any concrete research and plan to address human eroticism in space. Musk revealed on Twitter last year that he has plans for humans to set foot on Mars by as early as 2029. That's pretty early. A journey that would take several months, of course. The world's first space tourist, then 60-year-old American businessman and financial analyst Dennis Tito, set off in 2001, forking out £20 million or $34.1 million today to fly on board the Russian Soyuz spacecraft to spend a week at the International Space Station. And last year, Time reported that the now 82-year-old with his wife, Akiko, will be heading to the moon on board Mr. Musk's SpaceX Starship spacecraft with up to 10 other passengers. Now, how much the couple are forking out for their once-in-a-lifetime holiday has not been disclosed. Over the next decade, space tourism is expected to boom, with flights lasting from days to weeks. Just last year, Axiom Mission 1 flew 4 astronauts to International Space Station for more than a fortnight, that's 2 weeks, using a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft. The Cranfield University paper is being discussed later this week at a space tourism conference in the U.S. What are they going to do? Ask tourists or people to sign disclosure agreements that they will not have intimacy in space? What can you say? I'm sitting here shaking my head. This is by Rhiannon Ducan on Express UK. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.